V'zehu v'yikach Haman es halavush v'sasus chulu, and this is the meaning of that Haman took the garment and the horse, Peirush alidei b'chinas Haman davka, that is through Haman specifically, Nimshach b'chinas levush malchus or shalovash chulu, is drawn down the concept of the garment of the king that he wore, V'sus asher achav alav hamelech chulu, and the horse that the king has rode upon. Yehini Amar Razal. Now, Dezeu Maimar Razal, and this is what our sages said. Haman mina Torah benayin. How do we know Haman is from the Torah? Dichsiv, that it's written Hamina eitz chulu, that did you eat from the tree? Pirush al derech hanal, and that is that, like we explained before, Be'inyan Maimar Razal, with the statement of our sages. B'talmidei chachamim v'shminish b'shminis, with the eighth of an eighth of haughtiness, that surrounds the wheat like chaff, and that's the concept of the garment of kingship, garment of exaltedness and haughtiness that prevents, that's there for and to prevent the bad, like Haman. That with an arousal from below, with the concept of the coarseness and holiness, meaning the haughtiness of holiness, by going away from bad and doing good, this awakens from above. Similarly, the supernal haughtiness, to be haughty upon the haughty, meaning not to give flow to the external and the bad. The v'ikach Haman, and that's what it means that Haman took the coarseness below, is levush hamalchus, the garment of kingship, v'sus asherachav alav hamelech, and the horse that the king rode upon, shubeis pamim gas, which is this concept of 2 times coarseness. That's the gematria horse of sus lihios ge'al ge'im chulu, that 2 times is, of course, is 2 times of 2 times haughtiness, ga'u ga'a. Achine Haman the klippa ratzah b'zeh shimshach levush v'sus hamelech elav, but Haman in the klippa wanted to draw down the garment and the horse of the king to him. And in his haughtiness he said to himself, to who does the king desire to do greatness more than me? And this is through the coarseness and haughtiness, the chutzpah of klippa. Like it says by the ministering angel of Esav, that if you lift yourself up like an eagle and so forth. And this type of arousal from below with haughtiness that the bad wants to get, this causes above to draw down the supernal haughtiness, that would be drawn to Haman in klippa. However, the king commanded to Haman in klippa to flip to holiness, that he should help Mordechai. And you have the concept of Haman flipped into the concept of Haman in holiness, in the supernal godliness, the holy godly concept. And that's the idea of Haman, that he is the idea of haughtiness, but in holiness he's the 8th of an 8th of the coarseness of spirit of the Torah scholars. That surrounds him like the chaff to the wheat. And this is why our sages said that, where do we learn Haman from the Torah? We're saying not the bad Haman, but Haman in holiness, the Haman in the Torah. How do you know that Haman is in the Torah? How do we know that there's a holy concept within Haman as well? That's why it says from the tree, that there's a peel to the fruit. That is the tree that's higher than the other trees. That's from the tree of life. That's beyond the tree of knowledge of good and bad. So when it says from the tree, the simple meaning of the verse is, did you eat from the tree of knowledge of good and bad? But ha'etz, the tree with a hey idea, I guess, would imply the Eitz HaChaim, which is the main tree, not just the Eitz HaDas. And like it says in another place, and that's why the king commanded Haman to take the garment and the horse, because it's dependent upon him, because in the Haman, in holiness, this is dependent. You want to have haughtiness on the level of holiness, so you have to have the haughtiness of holiness which Haman represents, and that's what's going to bring the garment of the king. Take the garment and the horse, because from the arousal from below and the haughtiness of holiness, this draws down an arousal from above. He used to be haughty upon the haughty, v'kach also, and that's what he took. Vayikach Haman and Haman took the garment and so forth. With all of this, you can understand the statement in the Zohar, that when you push down the other side, is greatened the preciousness of the Holy One, blessed be He above. That meaning to say, what causes the exaltedness and holiness is you take the purification from the coarseness of klippa. That's the iskafia of the Sitra Achra, is you take its coarseness and you bring it back down, you bring it down. And instead you flip it to be haughtiness and holiness. With this, you push down the other side because of the haughtiness and holiness. Like it says in the time to come, that they will go into the caves of the rocks. Because of the fear of Hashem and the splendor of his haughtiness. With this is greatened the splendor of the Holy One, blessed be He. What does it mean to istalik? Because it usually means to go away, but here it means to go up. To be elevated and exalted, so in his essence, to the point where he does not want to give any flow to the one who does not deserve it. And this is what it says, that it goes upwards. Because if it was just from the descent of his light and goodness of his kindness below, the light would spread out without measure. But because it went upwards and exalted, therefore the light comes down in a flow in an extreme particular way, like we said, only to the good. All of this that caused to go up the greatness of the Holy One, blessed be He, in the time of exile in the days of Achashverosh. It was only through the general souls of Israel and their self-sacrifice that was beyond reasoning and understanding, legamri canal, completely, like was explained, that this caused a reflective light above, to awaken the essence of the infinite light that's simple, beyond all the order of creation. And that even though in the time of the giving of the Torah the arousal did not reach there, like it says, and all that, like it's written, like it says, that they accepted and established that which they began, that in the giving of the Torah they only began it, in the time of Achashverosh they completed it. And the reason is, Ester, that in the days of Esther Agam, Shahaya Bechinas Hester Panim, even though it was in times of hiding of the countenance, like it says that I will in a double measure cover my countenance on that day. But however, this is truly a greatness more than when the countenance is shining. When in the time of the giving of the Torah. Because in this hiding of the countenance, it was going up higher and higher in exaltedness to only go down to the right place. Although it does say in Matan Torah, Yarda Sinal Umos, which seems to imply that as well. But here, obviously, it was on a different level. And you drew down light from a place that was higher, more exalted, like it said, like was explained above. That for this reason we have a greatness on Purim that was not on Yom Kippur. The Yom Kippur was the giving of the second Luchos, was the concept of the Matan Torah. But on Purim, it was greater than on Yom Kippur. That's why it says that these days of Purim will not go away, because the hiding of the countenance that comes through the self-sacrifice below Gedola Ma'od is very great. Gedola Ma'od hu gam bechinas ha'aras panim chulu, even greater than the shining of the countenance. Ulekach lo nizkar shem Havaya b'chol Megillas Esther, and that's why the name of Havaya is not in all of the Megillas Esther. Allah HaMelech stam, or only it mentions the king simply alone. Shemure umiramez al bechinas atzmus urein sof, that hints to and shows up that it's referring to the essence of the infinite light, Hapashut, the simple, Shemuf Shat Mikol Shem, that's beyond all names, Ukamaimur, and like the statement, Antu Memalakol Shemon Chulu, that you fill all names, but it's called simply the king, in a hidden way, because it's not known who it is, Esther, and the concept of Esther, Shunyan Hester upon him, which is the concept of hiding of countenance. It also comes from this light that's hidden. Only that there's also a string of kindness, a rope of kindness that comes from it. That it says that yes, even though Esther represents hiding, her beauty, that the grace, that the beauty that was upon her is this revelation of kindness that still is there upon her. Meaning to say that the chut is drawn down from her, from this hidden place to downwards to the right place. Like it says that Esther drew grace from all those who saw her. Like I just said, that Esther was extra green, meaning to say that just like that represents the beauty of Esther that was revealed. The next paragraph, if you place towards him one's heart and soul and neshama, will be gathered onto him. Hine pirush yasim lashon sima. Now this language of to place, gashmius. This what kind of arousal? This is talking. This pasuk is talking about an arousal from below, and then the arousal from above that it causes, in general. So what does this mean? What is this arousal from below? To place oneself. That's the concept of physical action. That even if you place your heart, meaning to say, what does it mean to him? Meaning to him and not to his attributes, kidu, as is known. To go to reach towards the essence. Mikol makom, nonetheless, this concept of the desire of the heart, meaning to say elav libo, that it's not just a physical action, but it has to be elav libo. That's from the grasping of the mind of man, nikra asiyah gashmis. It's still called a physical action, the gabi orin sof baruch, in comparison to the infinite light may be blessed. V'zeu yasim elav libo, and that's why it says if you place physically towards him your heart, b'chinasima be'asiyah gashmius, to place with a physical action, bilvad alone v'af b'tzadikim gemurim, and even to the completely righteous, v'mikol shechein b'beinonim, and how much more so with the middleman, the Beinonim, sheholchim kol hayom b'shirus libam binyanim gashmim, that they go the whole day in with the desire of their hearts with physical matters. After heter, even if they're permissible, ube'esat tefillah, in the time of prayer, afal pishis or levavo betachlis nikudas alev, even if they're awakening their heart to the complete point of their heart, ein zin nechshav rak asiyah gashmius, even in such an emotional accomplishment is only considered a physical act. Because the heart has become very physicalized, to the point where even if you place it onto your heart to cleave to him, maybe blessed to gam, that's also considered physical. Nonetheless, you'll place your heart to him, to the essence. Because in comparison to the infinite light, the spiritual and the physical are equal. Because like his name, so is he infinite. So it doesn't matter if it's physical or spiritual. You're going to reach the same place, because in comparison to him, everything is equal. And this, that it says, if you place your heart onto him, meaning to say that there's a doubt, maybe you will, maybe you won't. The explanation is simply the mishum de Messiah, so if a pasuk ruch v'nishmasu elav Yosef, that since the pasuk ends, that the spirit and then the ruach and the neshama will be gathered onto him, that's dependent, that there's a dependency. That if you place your heart into him, that's when it'll happen. That's why it says it in a language of im with a doubt, lashon safek, that if you do not do this, the ruach will not be gathered onto you. And so what's this dependency? An explanation of this matter, that with the arousal from below you have an arousal from above, dafka, specifically through their efforts below. But that first the revelation came because he desired kindness, and then it was dependent upon the arousal of the feminine waters. Therefore, if you place your heart upon him, that's when it happens. And then it arouses the masculine waters, which is the spirit and the neshama. And it says on the bottom, the shule hagilayon, v'hu b'torah, or kuf kafal gimel nosaf tevas inyan, v'hu inyan rucha v'nishmasu chulu. Mashikas v'rucha v'nishmasu dekayal atzmus urein sof. And this, that it says that the ruach and the neshama will be gathered onto you, and that's actually referring to the essence of the infinite light will be drawn down. It's not referring to your own neshama l'cha'ora and your own ruach. The rucho shalatzmius v'nishmasu hunimshachulu, that the ruach, so to speak, of his essence and his neshama kiviyachol is drawn down. And it says on the bottom, atzmius b'torah, or atzmos. It doesn't, and not rucho shel atzmius, rucho shel atzmos v'nishmasu hunimshachulu, which actually is a little bit better grammatically. And the concept is the hainu bechinas ruach v'neshama d'atzilus, that is the ruach and the neshama of the world of Atzilus, as is known that all the worlds have nefesh ruach neshama in them, which refers to the level of godliness of those worlds. Shemeirim ba'olamos hanifradim, which shine into the worlds of separation. Vehin bechinas hamadregos hayiduim bechinas memalak kol almin bechinas sovev kol almin. And this ruach and the neshama refers in general to that which fills the worlds and that which encompasses them. I'm not going to say which one is the mamali, which one's the soviv, because sometimes we see ruach is higher than neshama in terms of seder hishtalshlus, and sometimes the other way around. I know he's going to say dini b'china soviv kol almin nikra ruach, and that's exactly the point. That soviv kol almin is called the ruach, not the neshama. The higher level, the surrounding, is called the ruach, that with the words of Hashem, the heavens are made, with ruach piv kol tzvam chulu, and the spirit of his mouth are all of their hosts. Neshama. Oh, it's now you can't tell, because now he says Soviv is called the Neshama. It seems to be Mamali as the Ruach. He wanted to say Mamali as the Ruach. But anyways, it says Soviv for both of them. Just like the portion of the soul that's not included in the body, that's called the Neshama. So this seems to imply that Mamale is the concept of the Ruach, because that's the pasuk that's usually brought from Mamale is Ruach Piv called Sfa'am and so forth, that everything that fills it. Whereas the Neshama is the portion that's not included within the body, that's the Sovev. And even higher, not just the Ruach Neshama of Atzilus, and not just the Ruach that goes into Biyah, and not just the Ruach Neshama of Amale and Sovev, but even higher, this concept of Ruach Neshama Shel Atzmus HaMaitzil, of the essence of the emanator. Hu Shemeir B'Olamat De'Atzilus, that's what shines into the world of Atzilus. And that's the meaning of his Ruach and his Neshama will be gathered onto him. To have the enclosement of lights in vessels. And with this you can understand the concept of these two horses, like it's written when you ride upon your horse. The first from below to above, which is the concept of both gas and sag together, gematria sus. That is that you place your heart onto him, vasia gashmius, in the physical action. That has a concept of exaltedness and coarseness, that you're some existence. And even though you're desiring the closeness to Elokim, this desire is because of your own coarseness. It comes because you consider yourself to be some kind of existence very much. And this existence wants to be close in its attachment to Hashem, because there is a person who desires and wants. Like a person says, like the statement, for the sake of my name, Hashem will be honored. Meaning to say that you have some kind of existence for yourself, that you want it to be Hashem to be honored, not yourself, but you want it's for the sake of your name that Hashem will be honored. That itself shows your own honor, that you hold yourself. That there's a me and it desires. And when you do not have this arousal of love and fear, you're very pained by this. Because without love and fear, you're not existing at all. So that pains you. That fact that you're completely bottled and don't have the feelings affects you, because you want to exist. You feel your existence. And it's this. So this is not coming from the honor of godliness. This feeling, even though it's obviously very positive. Nonetheless, the beginning of service of Hashem has to be specifically in this way. From this concept of coarseness, because if not, you'll never start. And further, because with this type of attitude, you'll break and conquer any opposer. That is all the bad attributes of desire for things. And the like. This is because you do not want to you do not desire to be separate. And so it's a selfish thing that it causes this. That he himself specifically does not want to be separate. And if you were in a state of complete nullification, you wouldn't be able to stand up in such a way to the opposers. The complete bittul only works if there's no opposer. Now this arousal from below causes an arousal from above, as well, gasus, the kedusha, in a way of haughtiness and holiness, and godliness. to be high and exalted above all nations, and not to desire them, and like it's written, like it says, I hated Esav. Like it's written, you stretched forth your right hand, and the earth swallowed them. Meaning to say that you stretched forth your right hand, you lifted up your hand. What does it mean to stretch forth? Meaning, we're talking about the concept of exaltedness, to lift up. Then the earth swallows them in a state of nullification. That is to swallow the klippos on the other side. And then automatically it's flipped that you should have the light and flow from above. Rak Israel bilvad, only to Israel alone. That the haughtiness above causes it so that it should not go to bad, but only to the good. And this is why it says that his spirit and neshama will be gathered onto you. Elav, I guess, is specifically to you. So I guess the first Elav is to Atzmos, and the second Elav is specifically to you and not to the Klippos. Dafke Elav lo lezulasu, specifically to you and not to others, mipnei sheyasim elav libo, because you placed your heart unto him specifically in the beginning. So you had your haughtiness in the beginning, lifted yourself up, so you were able to cause that as well above, to have that haughtiness to only recognize the good. And this is why it says sag. This is why you have sag twice in sus, that extra coarseness of haughtiness and holiness. But one is from below to above, and the second is from above to below. Now this concept of that the Jews received, that's that which they began, the fulfillment of the giving of the Torah, is because specifically then they were called Yehudim, ki Yehuda b'chinas bittul kanal, because Yehuda is the concept of nullification. And Huda is higher than the blessing. So there's known the concept of bracha and Huda. Because it's known the saying of our sages that a person is obligated to bless 100 blessings every day. That is the 100 times. Truly, nasa b'chinas bracha becomes a concept of blessing, and drawing down min ha'olam the b'chinas soviv kol alamin, from the world, min ha'olam v'ado olam, from the world, which is the encompassing the worlds, the b'chinas memala kol alamin, to that as he fills the worlds. Dainu ma'alma diskasya la'alma diskalia, that is from the hidden world to the revealed world. As it's written, Baruch Havai min ha'olam v'ado olam, like it says that Hashem is blessed from the world to the world. And it's known that this is the concept of drawing down from the hidden to the revealed. And that is through the blessings. Like when you say, "Blessed are you, Hashem, Dios melech olam," to be the king upon the world. Like you're blessed down, you're drawn down to be the king of the world, or in a state of revealed light. And so the concept of blessing. And why do you need 100 blessings? Who the concept is lefish yud spheros, that you have the 10 spheros. Kol echad kolul yud spheros, each one is composed of 10 spheros. So that's 100. When you have to draw down in particular to each sphere, ma'alma diskasya, from the hidden world, alma diskalia, to the revealed world. So each sphere has 10. That's why you need 100 blessings every day. Because each day the works of creation are renewed. So this is all, however, in the concept of blessing. Well, with the concept of acknowledgement, and it's higher than this concept of revelation from hidden to the revealed. But the acknowledgement is to the essence of the infinite light truly, like we explained. And that's because the infinite light is beyond the concept of hidden and revealed, because no thought can grasp him at all, even the hidden, to the revealed. nechshav, that even the hidden is considered just like the revealed. And like the statement, that in front of you are revealed all the hidden. Therefore, you could not say that there's the concept of blessing there. Only the concept of acknowledgement, which is only in the essence of the infinite light truly, because it and all of this is drawn down because of the self-sacrifice that they had the year before Purim. And therefore, through your placing your heart towards him, his essence, so his ruach and his neshama of his essence will be drawn down to him specifically, like we explained. And that's why they were specifically called Jews then. That's why it says that the Yehudim received this. The Yehudim received this level. However, this that it says that they received in the singular, and then it says, and they received and established in this plural. And there's also the written and the revealed, Vikibel and Vekiblu. And on the bottom it says Visham Yesh Gamkin. And that's how it says it in Torah. Or Visham Yesh Gamkin Kriuksiv Akrik Vekiblu. That we read it in the plural. That they received Avalaksiv Gamkin Vekibel. But the what's written is also in the singular. And that he received in the singular. Because the concept is because of their self-sacrifice that they had, everyone united as one man. And like it says in Matan Torah, that Yisrael camped there in the singular. Vayichan. But since by the giving of the Torah was only the beginning, and not the end, and then, like we explained above, therefore what's written and what's read are different. The kibel is singular. I guess Vekibel in the singular, even though it doesn't actually say Vekibel there by Matan Torah in that way. But it would be just like if it says here in the Megillah Vekibel in the singular. Because you did not yet have the revelation of lights in the multiple, in many vessels. Like it says in the Megillah, that by the feast of the king you had kelim and kelim shonim. And that's why it says that they received. So the language of the Megillah, the kibel haYehudim, is referring to, it's also hinting to the concept of Matan Torah. So that's why the kibel also applies there. That which they began to do in the singular, that the Matan Torah was in the singular, Vayichan and Vekibel. But by the time of Matan Torah, by the time of Purim, it's in the plural, Kimu Vekiblu, that the Jews established and received upon them in the plural. Bizman Mordechai ve'Esther, in the time that is in the time of Mordechai and Esther, Hakri v'Aksiv Einam Shavin, that which is written and that which is read are not equal. Hakri v'Kiblu Lashon Rabim, that we read it, they received in the plural, Vaksiv v'Kibel, and the written is that he received Lashon Yachid in the singular. When the reason is that it's explained, the main reason for this, because they were considered as one. That this is because of the simple will that was in the point of the heart, echad, which is one gam, but of am, it's the same in everyone. Even the whole nation has this one singular point of heart that's equal. Because it's called the singular soul for all the essence of the Jewish people. Also in general, for all the souls of Israel, it's called the one soul. All is one. But that's only in the written. Which is in the letters that are written, which are hidden upon the writing. That's why what's written is that he received. But in the voice and the speech, which is when you read the letters and bring them out, from the hidden to the revealed, you have to read it that they received in the plural dafka, specifically because they had already become proper vessels for the light. That it should be dwelling inside of them, that you should sit inside of all of them in the plural. And should be received into each and every one of them, according to each person's measure, mamash truly, like we explained above specifically at length. That's why you had such a great level in the days of Achashverosh, more than in the time of the giving of the Torah, or that the light was received into them, and they became a receptacle to receive it, to the action of the mitzvahs. And you have 600,000 sparks. And you have 600,000 kelim vessels, the oros to the lights. That's why it says וקבלו בקרי לשון רבים in the reading it in the plural. Because you have many vessels to receive. And like the allegory that was brought there, that the letters of thought, there are many, which is not the case with the desire of the heart. Now the letters there are bottled. Vikacha and and similarly you have this idea there. I guess the roost of the liba is like Matan Torah in the singular. Vikacha and so to hear the bikriya, when you read it, be called the dibur, with the voice and the speech that comes out from the letters of thought. Harikol echad ve'echad korekedarku, each person reads it in his way. That's why it's read that they received. But it's written and he received, because in the hidden state of the souls of Israel, they're only like one soul. So this is a maila. The fact that it's both the kri and that you have a kri and ksiv is greater than just the kibel. That's implied by the giving of the Torah. But in the plural, you have the kiblu, but you have a kri and ksiv, because both implies another maila. The ksiv is in the singular because it comes from such a high place in the singular, but the kri is in the plural because that's also a maila that it comes into the kelim. And that's why it says specifically when the Megillah is talking about the days of feasting and rejoicing, specifically in Akri Vaksiv, this pasuk of what's read and what's written, the Vekiblu, like it says, in order to do these 2 days, days of feasting and rejoicing. What does it mean, days of feasting and rejoicing? Feasting, rejoicing means it's a concept of revelation, of light in vessels. Or dafka specifically, that with joy, like it's explained there, that with joy you reveal the hidden into the vessels, which is the opposite of crying, that comes from the pushing of the brain. In order to cause these days of feasting and rejoicing in this kovekiblu, that's why it says that they established and accepted in the language of plural in the way it's read. reveal and with joy. That's why it says, if you, in both in the singular and in the plural in this pasuk. First, it says, if you place singular onto your heart, because it's in the hidden. And then it says, and because this is talking about the singular state, which is in a hidden way, that you bring down from the Lashon Yachid on that level.